I am indefinitely banned. A lot of you know my name, but you don't know my story. Today we're changing that. When I first hit High Diamond back in Season 9, one of my friends would always spectate my games to try and improve. Since I didn't want him to suffer through the 3-minute delay, I decided to download Streamlabs OBS. And so, in October of 2019, I started my first ever stream. At the time, I would still be playing on my laptop, and so my streams would have about 30 to 60 FPS, and most of the time while I was in game, I would actually have to read Twitch chat on my phone since I didn't have a second monitor. After about a month of this, I'd come to realize that I really enjoyed streaming, and so as a result, I invested in getting a better setup, which became the setup I have nowadays. Since I wasn't very high-low, only about D1 to D2, and I wasn't in this scene for very long, the only way I could get my name out there was through linking my Twitch in every game. And so, I became known as the toxic Hecarim main that would just link his stream after every game. The next few months progressed, but without any kind of progression. I remained around the same elo, and around the same single-digit view count, until February, where everything changed. I got in a game with a popular offline TV member named Devani, and since I saw the name of Vani and immediately assumed she was a girl, I linked my stream, and trying to be funny around my friends, I asked her if she would have sex with me. She said nothing, and the game dodged. After my stream that day, I noticed that she clipped that segment of my stream, and that's when I found out who she really was. I saw she was friends with other offline TV members, and when the clip started to get views, I assumed she found it funny, and she was spreading it to other popular streamers as a result. I thought nothing of it, and was actually excited because I saw it as a way that other offline TV members and popular streamers could get to know my name. The next few days went by pretty normally, and then the bombshell dropped. On February 7th, a few days after the incident happened, Ivani tweeted about me. I remember sitting there with 10 viewers, and then seeing the number jump to 20, then 30, then 50. I was wondering what was going on, and I thought I had been featured on some kind of YouTube channel or something. Then the comments started. That day, hundreds of people came to my stream, calling me a sexual harasser, questioning why I wasn't banned. And, after 2 hours, I was. I ended up getting a week-long ban on Twitch, and I spent that entire time reading. Every single comment, every single YouTube video, every single tweet, every single Reddit thread. I read everything. I had no appetite for the first few days, and just spent all day in bed. The worst part about this situation was that I tried to DM Ivani and tell her that I was sorry for everything that happened. However, she never responded. And since I didn't have any kind of following either, there was no way for me to change people's opinion of me. I was unbanned on February 14th, and my viewer count went from single digits to about 15 to 20 or so. The situation with Ivani didn't blow up my stream. All it did was brand me as a sexual harasser. Every single day, for months after, I would queue up for 8 to 12 hours. In every single game I would play, people would say, "Hey Doaenel, aren't you the sexual harasser?" And if they were on my team, they would int me. If they're on the enemy team, they would ghost and flame me. And this continued for months. Not only did the situation with Ivani make it so that my experience in solo queue was miserable, it also made it so that every single content creator in the scene wanted nothing to do with me. I remember at one point even having Manko and Davemon, two NA streamers on my team, and Manko was actually someone who said, "I don't feel like giving this guy any attention, so I'm just gonna dodge." And they dodged me. Content creators hated me, the community hated me, everyone hated me. Then, one day, Karasmai came to my stream. He made some random comments about the game, but I got so excited that a big streamer was even interacting with me that I started getting hyped and going crazy. I saw him as someone that was finally willing to give me a chance, and so I started slamming my chair and blasting hardstyle, telling him I'd 1v5 the game for him. He found me funny, clipped the stream, and showed it to some of his friends. Soon after, I joined a high-low player named Artistic ADC's Discord server, and started talking to Karasmai through there. For some reason, he kept trying to get my Instagram, and then he introduced me to Stevens, and thus my friendship with Stevens and Karasmai began. Around that same time, March of 2019, COVID started. Since I had a lot more time to stream, that's exactly what I did. Over the next few months, I managed to go from 20 to 100 viewers just by word of mouth, and Karasma even put me on his auto host that summer, bringing my viewer count from 100 to upwards of 150. Gyms were closed due to Quebec's restrictions, and as a result, I just decided to dedicate all my time to streaming. I would wake up, stream for 12 to 16 hours, sleep, and repeat every day. After about a month, I started to feel burned out, and I knew I wasn't giving my streams the same energy I used to. Because of this, I took a week off of streaming to try and find myself. I came back, and after a few days of having high energy, I went back to my melancholy state. Charisma noticed I was giving everything to streaming, and he wanted to help me realize my dreams of content creation. And so, to get me started on YouTube, he put me in contact with Professor Kali. With his and Charisma's help, people were slowly starting to learn of me who didn't have this preconceived notion that I was a sexual harasser. And rather than being saddened by the name I had made for myself in the past, I was hopeful for the name I could make for myself in the future. Then, in August, I met someone. Someone with the profile picture of a girl and the name Caitlin came to my stream and instantly tier 3 subbed. By this point in my life, even though I was 18, I never had a girlfriend or even kissed a girl. Caitlin told me she was a 30-year-old tech executive from Texas, and just the fact that she gave me any kind of attention at all had me hooked from the first interaction. I started talking to her for hours every day through call and text, and since she would donate absurd amounts of money and subs, I never questioned her legitimacy. At this point, me, Charisma, and Professor Kali were even talking about starting a gaming house in Texas for content creation, and I genuinely couldn't have been happier. It looked like a bright future was coming my way. Charisma also told me that my community was too toxic, and I needed to start reforming it if I wanted to really grow. And so, I started banning a lot of my OG viewers who refused to change their behavior. In mid-August, things took a turn for the worse. Stevens and Charisma were doing a tryhard unranked to challenger duo grind, and since they were in my elo, I wanted to snipe them to play Hecarim mid on their team. Instead, I ended up getting filled jungle against them and winning that game. They viewed me as a cringe loser stream sniping them for attention, who was ungrateful for all the chances they had provided me with, and as a result, they cut contact with me. Since my friendship with Charisma ended, the content house plan ended up falling through. But in my mind, it didn't matter. I've always been an optimist, and instead of harping on the negative, I instead decided to focus on the positive. I had a girl who loved me, who wanted me to move in with her. And so, in late August of 2021, I decided to take a semester off of school. She didn't exist. The phone numbers were all burner phones. The tech company wasn't real. And the addresses she gave were houses that were for sale. I didn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. But my mom showed me everything, and I had to come to face with reality. I came to find out that the entire time she was using a voice changer every time we would talk. And every time she would add a friend to the call, it was her on a second Discord account with a different voice changer, so she could pretend to be two different people at once to make her story that much more believable. That was my breaking point. The community who once loved me hated me for purging them. My friends hated me. The League community as a whole hated me for the Avani situation as well as the flaming. And now the one thing I had left, a girl that loved me, didn't even exist. And so, later that night, I decided to write a twit longer. I intended it to be a farewell of sorts, not necessarily to streaming, but rather to the idea of being a content creator. I had to keep streaming since I'd already taken the semester off, but I wanted to let the community know that I intended on leaving it all behind me in the near future. Until that time came, though, I wanted them to know me for who I really was, not for what they were led to believe. Although the community was starting to see me differently, I still had control issues, and as a result, when I felt like games were out of my control, I would flame. With everything that happened, my viewer count also took a massive hit. I went from averaging almost 200 viewers to barely being able to peak over 70. I started to enter this depressive state, and it genuinely felt like everything was crashing down. It was around this time as well that I started saying in-game. In my mind, the only thing I had left that gave me any kind of happiness was streaming. And so, I started to limit test Twitch TOS by saying crazy things and adding in-game after. A part of me hoped they would ban me for it, that way I could truly be left with nothing. But surprisingly enough, they never did. I came to the realization that I'd probably never make it as a streamer, but I still wanted to see if there could still be some hope for me in the content creation realm. And so, I started taking YouTube more seriously as a result. I also looked for ways to regrow my Twitch stream. I tried creating mobile fire guides, I tried grinding high elo, I even tried emailing people about making videos on me, since I had an off-meta pick that was Hecarim mid, but nothing worked. I came to accept that nothing was ever gonna happen, and as a result I reapplied for school in November, and then got accepted in December. Charisma and Stevens also started talking to me again, and since I was in a happier state, my Twitch channel started to do better, averaging anywhere from 100 to 150 viewers. Then, in January, the new season started. I decided I'd keep streaming since I was in a happier state, and would grind anywhere from 10 to 14 hours a day. Hecarim's ban rate was insane, and at the time I'd have to queue on 6 different accounts just to get one lobby with my champion. But when I did, I would annihilate. Even though I'd have insane win rates on Hecarim across all my accounts, climbing was hard since I'd have to dodge every time he was banned. I managed to get one account to 472 LP, only 2 wins from Challenger, but then Hecarim's ban rate and high-low started to skyrocket, and I demoted to Diamond just 3 days later. My mental was in an unrecoverable state. I was 2 wins from attaining the thing I've been after for years, and I blew it. For months afterwards, I just let myself stay in Diamond. Then, in April, Riot nerfed Hecarim. His ban rate decreased, and I said I get Challenger on my main account, that was Diamond 3 at the time, gaining 15 LP a game. I started climbing fast, but once I got into Masters, my account got 2 banned for toxicity. But, even though they tried to hold me back, they weren't able to. And at the end of the day, I got my Challenger promotion. I even started talking to a new girl who I ended up dating, and just felt super content with everything in life. The downside is I lost the drive to push myself, and as a result I would for fun and play AP Hecarim and Challenger, which led me from going from 700 LP to D1 in less than 2 weeks. My viewer count also started to dwindle since I wasn't trying as hard anymore, and then everything changed in July. Charisma and Professor Cully started getting cancelled on Twitter by people who were completely unfamiliar with how everything actually worked for the contracts they had creators like me sign. As a result, they both terminated their contracts with me soon after, and Charisma even paid back all the money he had made off me in the time we were working together. For the first time in years, I was truly on my own. I created a TikTok account, a second YouTube account, and even started YouTube Shorts. I would wake up in the morning, upload 1 to 2 TikToks, stream for 8 to 10 hours, find good games to use as YouTube videos, and then spend several hours each night working on the scripts for my documentary videos. I gave everything to my passion. At that point, even though I wanted to give everything to content creation, I was still worried about not being able to actually make it. And so, I did stay in college, and I took 2 classes in my last semester. To generate hype for my streams, I even decided to transfer my account to EUS to play with the pros who were boot camping there at the end of last season, and that set the trend of every streamer transferring to the region overseas. I never really cared about my rank, only my MMR, and as a result I would constantly transfer and retransfer my account while doing with Darkwind Jax, an infamous European player. I would constantly have insane MMR for pro sniping, and I would always be in 1k LP games while my account was only Diamond 1. I managed to climb to Masters 200 LP, but Riot 2-week banned my account due to being mass ticketed, and after the ban I wasn't able to play at the same level, which led to me becoming hard stuck again. In October, the girl I was dating convinced me that my way of thinking was self-destructive and harmful in many aspects of my life, and inspired me to change. I decided to follow her advice, and I personally DM'd everyone who I felt like I had bad interactions with in the past, and personally apologized for all the wrongdoings that were done. I realized that even though I looked up to people like Sis, I didn't have to emulate this tough guy persona that, at heart, I wasn't, and I instead decided to focus on messages surrounding empowerment and positivity. When I felt like I didn't have to be someone else, that was when I truly started to reform. By tweeting about everything that I was doing on my streams, I was able to direct a lot of traffic towards my Twitch channel. From being stuck around the 200 viewer mark for over a year, I was able to triple my view count in less than a month. Then, on the final day of the season, I decided to spectate a Platinum Friends game who was playing on a high-low account that wasn't his. Several hours later, Riot issued a 2-week ban against my account for MMR boosting. After days of asking about the reasoning behind my ban, they never gave me a clear-cut answer. So, I just dropped it and decided to not push it any further. Then preseason started. While most streamers saw preseason as a break, I saw it as an opportunity. Every day I would wake up with only one goal in mind: improvement. When everyone else would either be offline or streaming only 6 hours a day, I would hype myself up, take caffeine, and put in 12 hours a day, every day. I was willing to give everything to become the best player and streamer I could possibly be, and as a result, I cancelled plans with several different girls who were planning to come visit me because all I wanted to do was stream and become the man I knew my community wanted me to be. By this point, I stopped being toxic towards my teammates entirely, and instead directed all that negative emotion towards myself to force myself to improve. I hit Challenger again, and would consistently jungle versus and out-jungle the best players on the region. On the content side of things, I would still upload 1 to 2 TikToks a day, stream 8 to 12 hours, upload daily YouTube videos, and then comb my clips after every stream for about an hour, looking for synapse submissions. I was giving it my all. Then, the new season started. This time I realized I need to give my viewers someone to really look up to, and I decided to create a twit longer on why I'm going for rank 1. I wanted everyone to see that even a man who is at the bottom can make his way to the top, and I want to show them that no matter what happens, all it takes is determination to realize your dreams. Everything started out great. I was climbing and doing well, and I even started a $1,000 bet versus Karismai on who would be the first day challenger. Then, several days after the season starts, Riot permanently banned my account. After trying to get in contact with them for multiple days, I was informed that my ban was for transferring. But the crazy thing is, I tweeted about retransferring my account during preseason and never faced any penalty for it, even after the 2-week ban at the end of the season. My guess? Riot didn't like that one of their top creators was someone who wasn't brand friendly, and in an effort to hold me back, they decided to issue bans against me. When one of your top creators, who's averaging 1 to 2,000 viewers, talks and acts in a way on stream that you perceive as him being a brand risk, the only thing to do is to prevent him from playing your game. I didn't let the ban stop me, however. I just saw it as a way of making a story that would live on for years to come. And so, I went on a new account, and with a 65% win rate on Hecarim, I went from unranked to challenger in 6 days. After that, the Hecarim target bans got to the point where even though the champion has a negative win rate, in NA Master Plus, his win rate is double that compared to every region, sitting at around 40%. Having my main champion banned every game, and not being able to perform for all the new viewers who were coming to my stream, started to really weigh on me mentally. I started to see myself as a failure, as someone who made promises to the community, but in the end wasn't able to hold true to any of them. Then, this morning, on February 6th, 2022, I woke up motivated. I told myself that today would be the day it all turns around, the day I finally commence my rise. And, after 3 hours of streaming, I was indefinitely banned. Regardless of the real reason behind the ban, the point still stands. I am banned. This does not mean I will give up. I promised you I would keep fighting. I promised myself I would keep fighting. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. For Challenger, for Rank 1, and for the message that anyone can do it. I'll see you all tomorrow.